Alright, so I have been playing with the Steam controller for a little while. Uh, I'd say about 4 or 5 months now, maybe 6. Uh, I really like it. It's been a little spotty with stability and just generally not having a lot of features for a while, but it has definitely improved in recent months. So I wanted to show off how I have it set up. And it's pretty complex at this point. So for the most part, you have a lot of the same functionality that you see with the PS4 controller, except that this trackpad is controlling the mouse. Now this is kind of not ideal. It's kind of not very good for MMOs. It takes a while to move around, you tire your thumb out, and what you really want to use it for, and what I'm using it for, is that I have this right trackpad, or sorry, right grip, set as a toggle. So just make sure it focuses. Yep. Sorry about this. I have a cord in the way. All turned around. Okay, there we go. So it this right trackpad, this right grip, changes my. If I press it once, it locks it toggles the right click button, which is perfect because I have it set to move the camera, of course, like normal mouse keyboard movement. Now, the reason why I did this, and the reason why I fussed with it for so long to try and get it to work, because for the longest time I tried to use just a touch on the trackpad would press right click and have it keybind that way. Unfortunately, that didn't really work that well, because the toggle button wasn't really a feature at that time. So what happened was the mouse would get stuck on UI elements, and it would get clicked on them, and it'd move around, and it just was a disaster. It never worked. So instead, what I do now is I have a toggle, and it works sort of like a mouse look. And I'm using the legacy control scheme. Sorry, standard type control scheme. So the reason why I do this for my tanks especially, I'm a big tank player. I love Warrior. The reason why I do this is because I can always look in the direction that I want to look. So let's say, I'm fighting a whole bunch of monsters, and say there's one more right here where I'm standing, and another one behind me over here. So if I need to hit this one to get aggro, I'm opening up my flank to this monster over here. So instead, what I can do is I can hit this guy and use my right trackpad to look where I want to always parry the majority of monsters. And I'll show that in a little bit, but I just want to go over all the features before I start doing that. So right grip, pressing it once will do right click, and if you unclick it and then double click, it'll become a left mouse. So you can look around your character, and you can use left grip to zoom in or out and take a look at your character, and it's pretty cool. Nice and featureless, or featured. It's got lots of nice movement to it. So, and you might notice that my horizontal hotbar is actually visible, and that I can actually control it using using the left grip and up and down on my analog stick. You can see right here I have like my macros for countdowns and my potions, and then if you scroll up, I have like my job slots, so I can quickly switch jobs. I have emotes that I use a lot, stuff like that. It depends on what job you have. So let's say I switch to Scholar. Now, any Scholar who plays on a controller, or anyone who has played Scholar on a controller, probably knows that it's a fucking nightmare to control all of these goddamn buttons. There's so much skill bloat, and it's worse for Summoner, but I'll show you them as well. So the reason why it's so problematic is because you have to control your pet as well as yourself. So the way that I did this, so I have my heal spells, my DPS spells, and I have a macro swap. This is going to be changed come 3.4 because we'll have double cross hotbar, which is going to be a lifesaver for a lot of my jobs, especially Warrior, Scholar, and Summoner. So let's say I want a DPS, so I can hit my Cleric stance background, and it switches to my DPS stance. This is not ideal. It doesn't work very well because it doesn't queue. So you have to really time your button press, and you have to really think about when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. I'm not a very good scholar, but this is how I do it. It will, like I said, it will be better with double cross hotbar, but then you can DPS, and then let's say my pet just died and I want a quick summoner, so I could do left grip with the left trackpad. You can access all of these skills. So let's say I want to put her on obey. So I'll hit 4. And the reason I put it on 4 and not 3 is because 3 is sort of out of the way, and I almost never want my pet on sick. You know, it's probably better to always have her on obey. Now, I know some summoners, at least my friend who likes to play summoner, prefers to micromanage his pet. So Celine is a great pet to have, and sometimes you want to micromanage his embraces. For me, I just have a macro that tells her to you know, embrace whoever I heal with my ad, though. It's not great. Like I said, I'm not a good scholar, so, but this got me through Vault, which was my big hurdle with Summoner, or Scholar, so it worked. Not great, but you can see you can have different hotbars for different skills, so here I'll show you Summoner. Oh, gotta disengage first. Let's see. My Scholar's not actually on my bar right now. On my Summoner, sorry. So we'll have my Summoner here, and you can see I have this hotbar, which it has my main utility skills, including my limit break, and then I also have my 3 summons, which generally I won't be sitting on this bar unless I really need to use one of those skills. I'll switch down to it, but usually I'll be sitting on this bar so that I can control where I want it to move with the follow and move icons and stuff. But you also see down here I have Garuda's skills on this cross hotbar. These expanded controls, I have the extra skills that I will basically always be wanting to use, so that they're not universal to that, you know, they're not specific to that pet. So and then I have a different cross hotbar for each pet, where this left trigger button scheme has their skills and their Kindle skill, so that I can control them more micro. And I like to say I'm a little bit better of a summoner than I am a scholar, so I feel this works pretty well for what I want to do with my summoner. So, okay, back to discussing all these features. So, let's say I'm healing, and I want to have a better way to target my allies. So normally you'd have to use up and down on your trackpad, on your D-pad, which is a trackpad in this case, to select a target from your party list and heal it through that way. However, that's not really good enough, and frankly, a lot of healers on controllers would agree. So what I did instead is I have left grip plus these buttons changes which mode I'm in. So I just switched to healer set, so I could turn on that right click toggle if I want. And you know, if you want, you can also change your controller type based on which job you're playing. You don't really need to be looking in a specific way as a summoner or a caster, but sometimes I know casters like to be able to control where they're looking so they can follow moving targets. It totally depends on your preference on this, so it's just whatever you like to do to fiddle with the settings. But now with left grip and the right trackpad, I can hot select any of my team members, and I can even select my pet, which I'll show you. So, and then you hit that, and voila, you have selected your pet. So it's very robust and can quickly scale with whatever you're playing with. It does take a little bit of getting used to. Once you understand all the buttons, it's not that bad. But I felt that I really wanted this control as a tank player to really be able to control everything that I was doing. So let's go and find a place to fight. Just hit up an Shrine, I guess. And I will try to pull a bunch of mobs, and I'll show you what I mean by being able to look where I want as a tank, which I think was the driving force behind me getting this controller. I played on a PS4 controller for over a year, and you know, it worked great. It has a lot of great features, and it's not a bad controller. The analog sticks did decay after a while. They started getting worn out and peeling off, so it wasn't that great. So, but it was overall not too bad. So for my warrior here, you see that I have a macro to swatch between my two control scheme sets, depending on if I need Inner Beast or Fill Cleave or whatever. Again, not ideal. If I could use the double cross hotbar, that would solve a lot of problems, especially if I wanted to do more PvP, which I do want to do more PvP, and I'm hoping that's going to be a thing with 3.4. Anyway, so let's pull this guy over here. Boom! And boom. Okay, let's, of course he de-aggroed. I have to find my fate or something. So, okay, let's say I'm, like, up in this guy's grill. So, that guy's hitting me from the side, so I can't really parry him. Let's say I'm hitting this guy, so... But if I look this way, I can parry both, and I'll prove it by just hitting that, so you can always get the parry. So, and then, so let's see... Yeah, see, you can see see... As you can see, it works. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. And let's see if I can get them to do another AoE. It's waited out. It's always on a timer. Alright, so, and then you can just move. Or even, let's see if this guy will do it. Yep, okay. And then you can just move directly back. And because it's a mouse, so the thing with the controller is that the analog stick only moves at a certain speed. No matter what. You can set it up as high as you want, and it's not going to go any faster than that. It's always going to be that speed, and it's not going to be great. It's not. It's almost never what you want at the speed you want to play at for, like raiding and stuff. So for me, this was a huge reason to get the Steam controller, because it was sort of a gamble for me because I wasn't sure if it was going to be good, but it ended up being exactly what I needed, and especially for me because I have carpal tunnel syndrome, playing on a controller is way more comfortable for me than on a keyboard and mouse. And this is about as close as I could get it to a keyboard and mouse control scheme without just switching to a keyboard and mouse, or spending a lot of money on those fancy doohickeys. So let's see if we can find a fate. I'll show you real quick. Groups. Now, maps are still a little fiddly to control. You can just toggle the mouse, but okay, that's a boss fate. That is a boss fate, but that's not it. Here we go. So, as stated, there has been some stability issues. They just did a firmware update, which supposedly will help with some of the crashes. I'm hopeful, because it was really frustrating to deal with Steam crashing all the time, and then I'd have to completely log out of the game and relaunch it just to get Steam controller working, and sometimes it would not work at all, no matter restarting Steam or anything. And I had to fuss with everything. I had to exit the Steam beta, re-enter the Steam beta. It's not been pleasant, but when it does work, it works really well, and I wish that they just improved on the features a little bit more. Add a little bit more options, like being able to toggle more than just the grip buttons would be great. Things like that, you know, just a little bit quality of life stuff. Here we go. So, yeah, I can get a big group here. So, let's get some paint. And the great part about this is that you can do stuff like this. Come at me. And just melt everything. So I'm always looking in the way I want. I can quick select, you know, I can quickly move directly to look at an enemy that is going to hit me in about, and just, you know, just before it hits me, so I can have a better parry chance against them. You know, for a paladin, this would be amazing, I think. because a lot of their defense comes from blocking with shields, which has the same window as parry. So ultimately, great for tanks, but I feel this control scheme is probably good enough for anyone. The only reason why there's a tank and healer set specifically is because I haven't really played enough DPS to really build a solid, just DPS only control scheme that necessarily needs to be different from the tank set. So for now, there's just the tank set, the healer set, and then the mouse set. When you're looking at the control scheme, you may think, well, why is there not a DPS set? Literally, the only reason is because it doesn't really need to be different from either the tank set or the healer set. Either you need to select your party members, or you don't really. All the rest of the features are still there. You can still use all your normal horizontal hotbars, which is a godsend for Summoner and Scholar because of their skill bloat. And sometimes it's nice for the tanks as well, because you can just put your limit break on the horizontal hotbar and not have to take up another cross hotbar slot for it, since you use it so rarely. The only thing that this right mouse toggle feature does, and it works, the same with the left click toggle, is that if I accidentally press something that looks at the UI, such as I just hit select and it just put me into the chat box. If I try to press something, I'll be able to still use my cross up bars, but if I hit A, it's going to... Here, I'll show you on something you can actually see, because I have that block in my... So, it's right now selecting, soft selecting the duty list. And when I press A, you might see that the mouse is, the hand is a little flashing in and out. This is because it's not designed to see input from the controller and the mouse at the same time. There's really no way around this. You just have to remember to toggle it off when you want to select something from the UI. So if you're about to hit a button, that's going to pull up a dialog prompt that you have to say yes to. You have to untoggle the right or left mouse button, and it's really not nice. I wish there was a better way I could do it. Currently, there isn't. Final Fantasy XIV does not have its built-in mouse look mode, and it doesn't have this. It doesn't have a nice mix of control and mouse that you can't really do that. This is as close as I could get it. It works pretty well as long as you get used to hitting that toggle button and then selecting your stuff. It's not too bad. It gets a little tedious, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Hopefully we'll see some improvements both from Final Fantasy XIV as well as Steam in terms of getting the Steam controller a little bit more adaptable for this kind of thing. So that's all I wanted to show and talk about for this control scheme. Hopefully it helps some people and it does the job. So if you have any questions, just I'll be making a Reddit thread, so you can ask there. You can ask in the video description or the video comments. I streamed this on Twitch originally, so if you ever want to see me playing with this control scheme, I always use this control scheme because I can't use keyboard or mouse with my hands. It hurts too bad. So you can always ask me questions. I'm on Balmung if you ever want to meet, and my name is Mugly Valley. This is my character name. So hopefully that was insightful. Thanks for watching.